My name's Taryn Mooney. This is my husband Colin, and we love creating beautiful spaces for people to find solitude and connect to the natural world.
Ever since I was a kid, my favorite experiences were always spent at my parents' cabin in the woods in Ohio, and we had been hosting our friends and family there for many, many years, and I'd always wanted to be able to recreate that experience for both our family and other people, our friends and family and other travelers. And Airbnb has really allowed us to recreate that experience here in White Salmon.
We're in White Salmon, Washington. This property we found a few years back. We were searching for some place with the right trees for a treehouse build. So when we found this place and saw all the trees on the property, there's a ton of potential for treehouse builds here, and we knew that this was the place right away.
We're here on 16 private acres. We're at sort of a dead-end road, so there's not a lot of through traffic. We have a really nice stand of fir trees through the property. It was logged probably sometime in the 90s, but they left some of these younger trees, which creates this really nice environment to be able to just walk through and enjoy the forest. There's a logging road that comes through this hillside over here behind me, and that's one of our favorite places to just make a cup of coffee in the morning and go for a little walk. It's sort of at the midpoint of that walk, there's a little spring-fed pond, which you can't really see unless you're looking for it, so you can walk up and check out the pond. And then at the end of that road, there's also one of our favorite views of Mount Adams. And really, the whole treehouse was designed around the view of Mount Adams. It's what brought us to this property and one of the things we really fell in love with in that process.
Yeah. And then in terms of the structures on the property, so we have the treehouse, which has full kitchen and bathroom and outdoor shower. And then we have our well house, which is the bathroom for our tiny house, which has a indoor toilet and sink with hot water, and then an outdoor shower with hot water for those guests. And then just up past there, we have the tiny house, which is kind of perched up on the ridge and has a view of Mount Adams, also with a couple nice loungers for guests to stargaze and look at the mountain. And then we also have kind of like a shared trail loop where we just built a deck this summer. So it's a great place for people to gather in the evenings. You can have a catered dinner, a small celebration. Being able to rent the treehouse to people provides this really incredible benefit of enabling people to cross things off their bucket list. People come to us and say, this is one of my life dreams, to stay in a treehouse, and to be able to provide that for people, I think is just priceless.
It's really special. It's an Airbnb, but it's also what's enabled us to do this is it had to be a passion project, like the most interesting and best way that we felt like we could create a treehouse. But in order for us to do that, it also had to sort of be a business. Even from everything from the financing to the insurance to getting everything going, we had to have a plan up front, and we had to know that we had to do it right for it to work. Otherwise, without that, we might not have been able to just create this. We're not the type of people that just have a bunch of money laying around to throw at a project. This is something we've been planning to do for over 5 or 6 years, and it's taken all those steps to be able to get to where we are now.
Yeah, I think if we weren't able to get it up and running so quickly and easily on Airbnb with that maximum exposure, we would never have been able to take on the financing needed to create the space itself. So I think without something like Airbnb to enable us to do it, we wouldn't have been able to do it at all. Welcome to the Klickitat Treehouse. Today we're going to give you a tour. This is a 500 square foot treehouse. It's an alpine modern cabin nestled in the trees.
Okay, so here we're looking at the front of the treehouse. The treehouse was designed with Mount Adams being the focal point of the views to the north. And the most commented item for the treehouse from our Airbnb guests is how much everyone loves the outdoor shower.
The kids love it. People always say that their kids won't stop talking about it. Let's check out the inside. Welcome to the treehouse. So when we were creating the space inside, we really wanted to make sure that we provided the amenities that you would get in a modern home, but in a treehouse. One of the things that we prioritized was the kitchen. So being able to cook a whole meal for your family and spend that time together in the kitchen and in the space or on the deck eating, yeah, again, top priority. Unusual for a treehouse, we have a full oven and stovetop. We also have a beautiful cafe appliance refrigerator with 2 drawers, which is super efficient in terms of use of space and the amount of beverages and things you can keep in there. In addition to cooking inside, in the summer we also have a propane grill on the deck, so you can grill out and sit on the deck and eat with your family. One of the other things we're really excited about with this project was partnering with local makers and sustainable products producers as much as possible. One of the really great examples of this in the space is our ceramics are by Wolf Ceramics, which is a local Portland ceramicist. So we really wanted to be able to put her ceramics in the space and promote her business. So if you come and stay at the Treehouse and you love the ceramics, you can go to our website and click through directly to her website to purchase your own set.
So one of the other design themes is being in a treehouse and connecting yourself to the natural world is we want to bring the outside in. So one of the things we did is we had all these windows. So we have 18-foot vaulted ceiling to bring in tons of natural light and really be able to showcase not only the trees, but the view of Mount Adams to the north.
This space was really designed to work it as efficiently as possible within this small space. We have this couch that actually seats comfortably up to 3 people, and then details just like the coffee table or even the shape of the coffee table allow for flow of movement around the coffee table, and even for family members to pull up a cushion and sit, huddle up at the coffee table, have your hot cocoa. We've got a basket of games over here so the kids can play. Got tiny Jenga, pair of binoculars to gaze up the mountain or check out what's happening across the valley.
Naturally, staying in the treehouse, we had to curate a handful of books related to trees and tree houses, of course. So we have The Healing Magic of Forest Bathing, we have The Hidden Life of Trees, The Cinder Cone, and of course we got our classic Pete Nelson treehouse book, which showcases some of their favorite builds and also some instructional information on how to build tree houses yourself. There's a photo of my parents' treehouse in here somewhere too. The first one that we built back in 2012 is right here in one of Pete's books. All right, let's look at the bedroom. We love these pocket doors. They're a great way to save space in a treehouse when you have a little bit of a limited area. And another thing we love is having almost a full-size bedroom, similar to a single-family house where you'd find, but you still get the privacy of the bedroom from the living space, and you even have your own back door to the deck.
So one of the other partnerships that we were really excited about for this space is a local brand called Stumptown Mattresses based out of Portland. They do sustainable mattresses, and we have it for all the beds in the space. That's one of the comments we get a lot in our Airbnb reviews is how comfortable the beds are.
And tying back to having a flexible space that allows you to make the most of each environment, what's cool is you can sit on the bed and you can still interact. It's like another seat to be interacting and socializing with everyone in the living room. And not only that, but you can see the view of Mount Adams when you put your shoes on in the morning.
And then not only did we want to offer a full-size bedroom, but we also wanted to offer within a treehouse a full-size bathroom. Should we go and check that out?
Let's do it.
When we designed the bathroom, we really felt like it was important to obsess the use of space in such a small space. So that was one of the things we really prioritized in terms of having a full countertop with storage underneath and a full-size shower with the glass. The other things that we really wanted to obsess were the design details. So everything down to the sink itself being an above the countertop vessel sink, out of the wall fixtures for the faucet, and then even down to the soap nook in the shower where we have sustainable refillable body wash, shampoo, and conditioner for every guest. I think the biggest benefit of hosting on Airbnb is the reviews we get and the notes we get from our guests, the time that they spend together and talk about that they have connected as a family for the first time in months, it really makes it all worth it to us.
Aside from that, really the platform itself has so many useful tools that we use, just the analytics side, being able to see how many more people are looking in a certain area at a certain time, being able to see how many views you have per month and kind of where your money's coming from, and being able to measure those things really is useful for people like us.
It's true though, we look at that stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I also feel like I work in product management for apparel, so I feel like I'm like a half numbers person and a half creative person. So I feel like we both love looking at the analytics and the numbers too. Mm-hmm. So we kind of geek out on that a little bit.
Totally. Shows you where all your hard work went,
yeah.
how it's doing. Yeah. So we're really happy with the way this ladder access came out. It's a custom steel fabricated ladder by a friend of ours in Portland, and it is matches the handrails upstairs in the loft. And not only does it save on space because you can pull it out and push it in. Makes a loud noise. But it is also designed to code for a ship's ladder for safe access to the loft. Let's check it out.
Welcome to the loft. The loft really provides a whole nother perspective to the treehouse. We also positioned 2 skylights in the loft to sit over the 2 beds so that you can gaze up at the trees holding up the house. So
the other thing that was important to us about the loft is making it feel cozy but also open. And so it's you have about 4-foot ceiling height over here, but when you come up and climb the top of the stairs, you're not having to duck or to crawl to make it to the bed, which I think is really cool. And then of course we have the view of Mount Adams from each room, just like the bedroom downstairs and the kitchen and the living room as well.
Another thing that we were considering when we were designing the space is that there's not a lot of space to store things. Something that we always notice when we go and stay different places is if there's a hook to hang your things on, or the lack of hooks, which can be frustrating. So in this space, we really want to make sure every sleeping area had 3 hooks by the bed. There's 3 hooks downstairs in the bedroom, and there's 3 hooks by the front door when you come in. And then there's 5 hooks in the bathroom for towels and toiletries and things like that.
The other thing that is cool about the handrail and guardrail here is we're thinking about safety, so we beefed it up. It's up at about 42 inches instead of code minimum down here, something more like 36. And it's just really open. You can lay in bed and you can look right through it at Mount Adams. And then the black, the powder coated black steel matches the ladder and some of the other fixtures in the house, like the light fixtures, door hardware, and the windows. We have heating and cooling from a high efficiency heat pump. So we get heat and AC, no roughing it here, but we also love the ritual of building a fire, and we knew we had to have a wood burning stove. Spending time on the property, living in the tiny house before we built the treehouse, one of my favorite morning rituals was I'd wake up and I'd make coffee and I'd make a fire first thing in the morning, and it just became one of my favorite things. So we're happy for people to be able to have that experience, but also have the comfort of the heating and cooling. I think the first thing that I was especially intrigued about was the engineering of building a house in a tree and the house being fully supported by it. The connection, the overarching theme that I think is really special is sort of the connection to the natural world that you can gain from that. One of the things that was paramount for our design for our treehouse was we wanted it to be fully supported by the trees, like an authentic treehouse. And what we have here is the main structure of the house is supported by these two Douglas fir trees, and we have 2 5.5-inch by 16-inch glue lambs that span about 30 feet between the 2 trees, which hold up the deck and the house. and we have this custom steel fabricated support structure, which allows the trees to move independently in the wind and move at different directions at different times without the house moving too much. Here we have the steel rod. It's called XL through bolt, which goes all the way through the center of the tree. And it's designed so that as the tree grows in diameter, you can actually, over time, say 20 years or more, you could actually loosen up this anti-rotation arm and these struts and be able to move the hardware further from the tree as it goes, so that the tree doesn't push the hardware. They don't come in contact with each other, which is pretty neat. One question a lot of people have is, do the bolts hurt the tree, and how are the trees able to grow and not affecting the house? And what we know is that trees grow in diameter, and then trees grow at the top of the tree. So one thing to keep in mind is you want to have as few contact points at the tree as possible, which is why we have two pieces of hardware through the tree, just at 2 locations on each tree.
When we first bought this property, there was nothing on it, no utilities or anything, and we saw this tiny house for sale in Portland, and we thought it was so cute. It was a handcrafted tiny house, and we thought, oh, that would be a great first building on our property. So we brought it here. It was a place for us to stay while we were working on the Treehouse project, and we had friends say, this is so magical, you should rent this out while you're building the treehouse. We put it up, and every weekend it was available, it rented, and it started generating income. The money that we spent on the tiny house initial structure, we were actually able to make back within the first year of renting it. And the tiny house is a super efficient space. It has a small propane oven and stovetop, tiny. Everything in there is like a tiny version of.
Super tiny.
There's a wood burning stove that is tiny, but very efficient. It gets it super warm. It's also a space that over time we've been able to reinvest some of our Airbnb income into. So just this fall we ran electricity to it, and we installed a small heater. So when it gets really cold at night, you don't have to wake up in the middle of the night to stoke your fire. There's a great loft that has a full-size bed, so 2 sleep really comfortably. It's super cozy up in the loft. There's a little breakfast nook, which is great for seating up to 4 people. Great for playing games or eating dinner inside. And then there's some great big drawers and hangers so you can store your weekender bag and hang your coats to dry by the wood burning stove.
And I think renting both the Cedar Shack and the Klickitat Treehouse is the ultimate experience, because you get the whole property to yourself and really get to have the best time.
I think it's the most fun.
Yeah, definitely.
When we bought our first house in Portland a few 3 or 4 years back, we were doing a ton of exploring on the weekends, going camping, places to stay, like staying out in our camper van and stuff. So that was when we first started realizing that we could rent our place on Airbnb and make a little extra cash to go towards future projects that seemed so far away at the time.
Yep.
And I think through that experience, learning how to host people and seeing their reviews and creating that space for people, I think for me at least, it became super addicting. It's like you wanted to get more people in there, you got to flip the space. And it just really inspired us to take on more listings, and I think we'll probably even have more listings in our future as well.
Definitely.
You guys can check us out at theklickitatreehouse.com. We've got both of our listings on there that will link you right to Airbnb, and we hope to host you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching our video and for stopping by Tiny House Expedition. I'm Alexis.
And I'm Christian. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And for more tiny home tours and stories, click the videos below.
And join us on Patreon for bonus content,
including face-to-face conversations with us. We hope to see you there.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.